Stick around today on Two Guys on a Porch. We continue our conversation with Dave Schroeder on community as we delve further into how to break the innate isolation that men find themselves. As we smoke wonderful fellowship sticks and taste today 3 rye expressions. We have Wild Turkey Triumph, Master's Keep 10-year-old special release. We have Willett 4-year-old rye and WhistlePig Boss Hog Spirit of Mauve 5th edition.
Welcome back to Two Guys on a Porch. I'm Jason. This is Bradford. As always, we have Kimber with us today, my lovely, sweet hunting dog. We're back on the porch with Dave Schroeder because we're a community and we want you to be part of our community. Be sure to like and subscribe. We want you to be part of our community of Two Guys on a Porch, where we sit here with a bottle filled or a glass filled with something with a flavor of friendship, a fellowship stick, and we figure out life. And so thank you for joining us again on the porch. We continue our discussion about community because that's really what we're all about. We enjoy a good whiskey and a good cigar, but it's all about being together on the porch. So thank you again, Dave, for joining us again.
Yeah, it's great to be here, guys. Yeah, I enjoyed our talk not long ago, right? About
That's right.
just the beauty of community, and I am learning from you all, like I said, when it comes to this. But thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
And for those of you who are close observers watching, Dave, you're a lightweight, and so you're smoking the same cigar you were smoking the last episode, which is a good cigar.
It is a very good
It's a
cigar.
Cuban, yeah.
Yes, it's a Cuban, yes.
But Jason and I just stormed through that one, and so we had to raid the box.
Does that mean we're better at sucking than Dave is?
Oh, I'm not. God, there's so many. Can we cut that? No.
Where's Michael Scott when you need him?
My goodness.
That's what she said.
Yeah. So we. I can't even talk. You've ruined me.
No, you did it to
Yeah,
yourself.
more ways than one.
Yeah. So we've got from Mission Cigar and Social some Padron Pyramid Maduro.
Thank you, Monty.
And shout out to those guys. And this is the first time we've had this on the show. It only denotes the shape from their 1964 series. And this is an amazing cigar. But we had to get new cigars.
Yes.
Rough. That's a tough life.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. Yeah. But, you know, the neat thing about this cigar is, wow, it's better than that Pargas Cuban.
It is.
It's price-wise, it's cheaper. And, man, I just love a good Padron.
Well, and just, does it pass the cat shit in your mouth test? Yes. And so did the Partagas. I think we tried some store brand cigars that did not pass that test. And we just kind of gave up and went, we're only going to smoke really good cigars. That doesn't mean that we have to pay $30, $40, $100 a stick. There are plenty of great $12 to $15 cigars. This is in the $28 to $30 range. But yeah, we're past trying bad cigars.
Life's too short to live with cat shit in your mouth taste.
We should put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah. There you go. Yes.
So we've got some. Dave, I called you earlier this week and said, what do you want to drink? And you've got a wide palate. You have a deep appreciation of good whiskey.
Yes.
But you said, I'd love to try some rye.
Yeah.
So we've set you up today. So what we've got today is Wild Turkey Triumph, which is one of their Master's Keep selections. It's an annual release they've done, I think, 9 years now. And I'm not sure exactly when Triumph was released.
Okay, so educate me on just on wild turkey in general. Like most people associate like these big vats of wild turkey, right? Like the cheap of the cheap,
handle,
right?
yeah.
Right,
Big
exactly.
handle, yep.
So like tell me about wild turkey and like them getting into the Triumph here.
So I would say, without knowing a great deal about it, their Master's Keep is their master's distiller where they have super aged these. So this is a 10-year. Most of what they've done, and their mash bill is very similar. In general, we're not talking about the rye, but they're super aged, and they are selected specifically by their master distiller almost an experimental. We're going to try something different, super aged, blended from a small batch, and they are amazing, complex taste profile whiskeys. We had you try the Voyage off camera. We've done that a couple of episodes, which
One of
we
our
love.
favorites,
Yeah,
yeah.
one of
It was lovely.
truly amazing whiskey. And so this is their Master's Keep Rye, which is called their Triumph. We've also got Willett 4-year. Willett does an amazing job, probably the best distiller at high proof whiskeys.
Okay.
And this is their green top, though.
That's right.
Not the purple top. Green top rye.
That's right. And they do different age profiles. This is a 4-year.
I already have enough chest hair. You're saying I'm going to have like a forest at this point. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's right. Well,
Okay,
and let's
all
get
right.
to the next one.
Okay.
WhistlePig, which is a Vermont distillery.
Wow.
And they love to experiment, right? That's kind of their profile. They just love to experiment with different things, most particularly rye. That's most of what they do. This is their Boss Hog. And so
And specifically, Spirit of Mauve. They
Yes.
do different iterations, and they are a unique distillery. They took over a dairy farm of all things up in Vermont.
Yeah.
And they have pigs on the property. And when they get a special barrel and this and that, they name it after their different pigs. Mauve was one of their pigs there, a female pig, and she loved apples. And this is finished in
Vermont.
some sort of Cavallotto's apple cask as the bee buzzes around your face.
Yeah.
And so it's a finished whiskey. They barrel it and then they finish it in cask of different sorts. In this case, the
lovely.
apple
You've
cask.
made me so curious. I want to try it first.
know.
You want to try it?
I'm not, since you're holding the Triumph.
Yeah, and I'm jumping ahead. Wow, Triumph is aptly named.
have you
I'm
tasted
having it. I'm having it already.
Yeah,
it's
I
lovely.
wouldn't have guessed. Admittedly, I would not have guessed this is a rye. This is a rye risky, right? That's hard for me to say.
A rye risky? It's a risky rye?
Risky rye. And my tongue's not working again. But yeah, this is more than 51% rye. Is that?
Man.
Yes.
Wow. This is. At this juncture, this is the best tasting rye whiskey I've had.
The
Love
only
this.
thing I would compare to this, because you're right, I tasted
Sits on your
this.
tongue.
When we had the Pappy 13-year, their
Yeah.
rye expression, it's in that ballpark.
Yeah, but this is more rye percentage-wise in the mash bill, correct? Yeah.
Yes. No. I don't know what the mash bill is on the Pappy to compare to this.
Well, it's
So
not,
we don't know.
All right, we don't know. We'll find out. It'll be Dave Huff Daddy will put this in the the mash bill in the bottom there. He'll take care of us. But wow, I agree with you. This is comparable. This is good juice.
Yeah, and the history, because you appreciate that, Dave. When Americans or the people that lived here in the colonies and prior started making whiskey, it was rye.
Yes.
So that was for
Highly
200
available.
years. That was
Yes.
That's what you had.
Yeah.
When they talked about whiskey, it was rye.
Yes.
So I'm curious if you had a chance to taste, and
I
what's your
have.
opinion?
It's lovely. Yeah. It sits on your tongue really well. I mean, it kind of goes to all the taste buds that you like. And I do like ryes. Is there a better moment to have a rye? I guess that's my question. You guys are the experts here. Like when to have a rye versus any other type of bourbon,
With
other
good
whiskey?
friends.
Good. Well, yeah.
but
okay.
I
Is
would-
it just personal preference?
I would describe.
I mean,
you
that's
as-
it.
I would describe you as kind of a romantic.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And so, like the environment, I don't think of it in those terms. Like, when's a better time to have a ride? It's like, well, sure, anytime.
Anytime.
But I'm sitting here wondering, like, how do you picture the best time to have a rye? Like,
Well, we are talking about community today, so it obviously is around friends. But I will say this: even though, I think at the end of the day, since we talked about books in the last episode or the previous episode, I love drinking a rye when I'm reading a good history book. Right? There's something about
oh, well, there
that.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause that's what they
it's
were
history books in particular. There's just something about it, and I think you referenced that too. I don't think I knew why. You maybe are just confirming that for me of like why I enjoy it so much. But there's something about it, whether it's winter or around a fire, reading that book, that just brings it alive. Specifically, something Civil War oriented. Jason, we were talking about James McPherson,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Before, a great Civil War writer, historian.
Absolutely.
I was reading. I was having a ride with reading. I think it's called. It's not Trial by Fire, but it's something like that by James McPherson with Lincoln's relationship with his generals, right? And so it was
Yeah.
more like honed in on that of how he dealt with them, the good, the bad, and so many lessons that come with that.
So the great quote from there is Lincoln once has a quoted as saying, "Find out whatever Ulysses S.
Yes.
Grant's favorite drink is,
Yes.
and send a case to my other generals."
Yes, exactly. Because that's why you look at the first, specifically 3 years of the war. He's pissed off most of the time.
Yeah.
Lincoln mastered one of the greatest lessons I love, even before he got to the point of establishing that relationship with, Ulysses S. Grant, was he'd write these letters to these generals, being so ticked off at them because their inactivity, right? Like the worst leaders, not the ones who make poor decisions. The worst leaders are the ones who make no decisions, right? And that was part of the issue.
McClellan being the chief among them. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just playing it safe when the reality is like you need to have decisive battles, right? You're never going to be fully prepared. You need to go out with the best army that you have. And but he'd write these letters, but at the end of the day, he's trying to maintain this union or whatever it is at that time. But oftentimes he just wouldn't send it. He put it in a drawer. It was his way of venting and getting all of his anger, his frustration out without causing more trouble than what it was worth, to the point when you said it, Jason, right? That story on Grant, I love that. And by the way, since we're talking about Grant, that Ron Chernow book on Grant is fantastic. That was his big follow-up, I think, to his Hamilton book, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And, whatever your sentiments are about the North and the South, like you can't not appreciate, like that's an American story. Grant is a guy who comes from essentially nothing to, barely getting into the war to eventually becoming essentially the supreme commander of the army. It is fascinating. But yeah, he had a bit of a drinking problem. Yes.
Yeah.
But it came handy for him.
Too much of a good thing is a bad thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, can you imagine the stress that someone was under? It was, you had to have some way to cope with it, especially during that time. But yeah, it's fascinating. So going back to the original question, like, yeah, I love, drinking a good rye with a good history book. It's there's just something about that I love.
Well, picking up where we left off before, we were talking about the natural inclination of men to isolate for whatever reason.
Yes.
And I think we want to talk a little bit about what are the means and processes by which we as men in particular can be in and build community. And one of the things I think of, we're talking about Grant having a drinking problem, I think 12-step programs are amazing because, one, it is the process. You have to do the work, as they say. But there's an element of you are among people who share this commonality that just leaves one completely bare and vulnerable.
Absolutely.
Like you have no choice but to be real.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think as a result, that removes the isolation or the need to isolate. The all of a sudden realization that there are people around you who, oh my gosh, they're telling my story.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
You find that to be true?
Yeah.
I'm not accusing you of being a 12-step group.
No, not at all. No. I come from a family history of alcoholism, and I have to pay very close attention to this of how it's treated. And again, like I know, like this will be my fill for the day. That's plenty. But I know like how easily it could get out of control. And the other thing is just, especially when it comes to community, I've got lots of friends of mine who are recovering alcoholics. They're alcoholics, right? And so our relationship can't be built on just drinking, right? And so I think we've got to accept that this is one form of it that builds community, which I love, but it can't be the only thing. And I think just having a healthy respect for that's so important. And yeah, so 12-step programs, Celebrate Recovery that the church uses a lot too. These are beautiful programs to ultimately get down to the core issue of like, why do you drink in a negative way?
Yeah.
Right. Because Jason, I can't remember, and Bradford, I think you brought it up like, yeah, I mean, Jesus his first miracle is making water to wine. So how beautiful is that? So it should be used
At a wedding. So it was a community
it's
event.
a community event. It's celebratory. It's a beautiful thing, and so it's not meant to be looked upon and used, or I should say, abused. And I think that's the key thing right there. So it's having a very healthy respect for it. And the other thing about community is recognizing when it could get out of control. And so we've got to recognize in community that, hey, when we have a brother or sister who has gotten to that point, including ourselves, that we be vulnerable enough to where that can be addressed. And that's the thing. You have to open yourself up to community to say, yes, you need to speak truth to my life. Bradford, we were in a group together for a long time and going through some very hard things, and you need to be able to speak some serious truth to each other, especially when we see one of us going off in a space that is not healthy, the complete opposite of it. And so
yeah, because we were in a group when I was going through a divorce.
Yes.
So, and
yeah,
here's one thing I think that this is a good, whether it's a reminder for a man or just an encouragement, is that, being in community for a season is valuable, because I think about our relationship. I don't know how long it's been since we've seen each other.
Too long.
But it's safe. It's secure. We pick up and can talk about hard, deep things because we've established a foundation where we can talk about hard, deep things.
I agree. We haven't missed a beat, and that's what I love about that.
Right.
I know. Yeah, Bradford, and that's what I love. I think, men, it's so funny because, you talk to any woman, they'll laugh, because guys in our relationships, we could spend months because we're doing work. We're busy people, and that's not a bad thing, but also...
Wait, women aren't?
Women are very busy.
You better be careful.
Women are very busy. But to be fair, they are better in some ways in relationships we are.
Yeah.
But we also have this
Absolutely
gift.
they are.
We also have a gift where I think of one of my best friends growing up in St. Louis, to where we never miss a beat. We could go 6 months, a year not seeing each other, and we come back, we can catch up, and we can go immediately into the deep things. And I love that. That's a gift that was forged 35, 40 years ago. I love that. But I think men, we thankfully invite that in each other. Hopefully. I mean, I that's why I can't stand staying on the surface. Come on, let's go a little bit deeper. I know it's hard to do that, but it's one of the most beautiful things. But like I said, men, we also have that gift. We may not see each other for a long time, Bradford, but I feel like, I can kind of dig in. I feel willing. I could ask a question, and I feel like, am I going too far right now? And the same thing, invite that, saying, Bradford, yeah, ask me anything, even as hard as it can be. I don't know if we don't do that right now.
What was funny is, Jason, you and I had a chance to catch up, as is typical, on the porch. We were at your house on the back porch, having a couple of amazing pours. And I get back, and my wife said, "Well, how are his kids?" And I went, "I don't know. We didn't get to that."
I got the same questions from. What'd y'all talk about? I don't know. We just kind of talked.
I know.
We talked about each other. We didn't get to the kids.
Yeah, but did you ask about this? Ask about that? Yeah. So, I think, to summarize, and correct me if I'm not correct, but to summarize what we talked about in our last episode, men lend themselves to being isolated, and we need an ictus, if you will, to bring community together.
Yes.
It's replete in the Bible that we need that fellowship. God in the garden saw that man was alone and not good, and eternity has been set in our heart. Ecclesiastes 3:11, I believe. And we always, as men, we want to be part of a bigger thing. We want to be. We know that we're made for more than what we have right here. That being said, we don't have a outlet, a way to have community. We almost need an ictus, be it a good bourbon and fellowship sticks, or something else, running or working out together. We need something, and perhaps your authors that you manage, their key to success is they've tapped into specifically saying and writing down on paper, this is the lacking that men have, and this is what they need to feel more fulfilled, more fellowship.
Yes, absolutely.
Is it true, Dave? Because you talked about women seem to do this more naturally than we do as men.
Yes.
Is it that we need a recipe and they don't? Like they just do it and we. So these books,
Yeah.
Max Lucado, John
Yeah.
Eldredge,
Yeah.
are they providing us a recipe to do that?
Yeah, again, I think we like doing life together in that way. So, this is why we're recording this on a Saturday. There are men gathered together watching football together. And
right.
so there's something, regardless if they're talking about something deep, they love spending time doing things together. And I think there's and women do that. Absolutely. They do. They would argue too, as much as they spend time together, my wife will say like, we maybe didn't get to the level of depth I would have wanted, and we were like, we're fine, but I just think, again, the temptation is the cowboy life of like, I'm on my own.
Hell
And like, that's
Rider.
not the story. That's the
Here
lie.
I go on again on my own. White Snake.
That is the lie. I know.
Did you just reference like 80s rock music?
Yeah. Don't.
Hey, I love it, man.
I'm
if
an
only-
80s kid. What?
Hey,
Wow.
listen, Jason.
Deep final cut there.
If only we all had the hair to back it up. That was it. So, I was jamming some Van Halen the other day, and my daughters look at me like, "You're crazy." I'm like, "Yeah, but this is it, man. This is it." My daughter went to Panama a few years ago for school. I'm like, "Come on, you know what I'm playing as you're waking up." Oh yeah. To get more into the kind of literary world that we're familiar with is, the Inklings, in Oxford.
Oh,
okay.
my,
So
yeah.
have you guys ever been to Oxford before?
No.
Oh, okay. You should. By the way, so, just to refresh everyone, because people know C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien, and like Charles Williams. I'm trying to think of a few others of that group, but they would get together. And
Walk.
They would
walk together.
They would walk together,
Yeah.
right out of Magdalen College, right? There's a beautiful wood right outside there. I was there a couple years ago. It's so amazing.
And then there Weaver Path where
Yeah.
what it was C.S. Lewis had his conversion experience. I
Yes,
believe, yeah.
absolutely, right. And then they would get together because they all were just brilliant thinkers, and they were writers, and they were teachers, and they would get together at the Eagle and the Child pub, Bird and the Baby, as they would call it, which was on the other side of Oxford, and that's where they would meet, and they'd share what they're working on. They would share, and they would help refine each other's work. They would sometimes read pieces that they were writing at the time. And so they were able to give feedback. They were able to challenge and make it better. But ultimately, why would these guys, who were very much competitive with each other,
Yeah.
they still felt the value of let's come together in fellowship. And that's how you get, I mean, there's no doubt. How do you not look at Tolkien and not think, how did he get this concept of fellowship of the ring, of the idea this is not meant to be walked upon alone, right? And so I think about that often because it's hard work to do that, okay? On a practical level, it means physically you've got to go somewhere. It means you've got to put aside other things in life. You've got to be vulnerable, bringing kind of who you are. And that can mean like what you're working on. It can also mean like what you're struggling with in life, right?
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
It's hard for us to name our weaknesses.
Absolutely.
This is what I'm struggling with because as a man, you're supposed to be Superman. You're supposed to, I'm doing just fine.
Precisely.
And vulnerable enough that others could name your weakness if you're
yes.
having
Yeah.
difficulty identifying it. Yeah.
You know what's beauty about that? It's kind of like the whole idea of refining, when it comes to refining to create swords and other like strong
refined
steel.
gold,
Right,
gold and
right.
silver,
Refined
yeah.
gold, right. It makes it better at the end of the day, stronger. And that is with a group of men in this case. But I love that. A funny story. The Eagle and Child is closed right now, but apparently I heard it's been bought and it'll be opened back up. That's the famous pub. I've only been there one time, but it was with a German friend of mine, a couple other English American friends of mine, and and we sat in like the rabbit room where they would have hung out and talked. And if you've read any of Andrew Peterson's material, I mean, he references a lot. That's why they named he and his brother named Rabbit Room as their kind of ministry or their nonprofit that they use to really talk about these things. You can just feel that in there. So My German. Yeah,
I'm sorry. Go ahead,
no,
please.
no, no. My German friend was so funny. He's like, I wonder where they went to the bathroom, which urinal they used. You know? You'd ask the stupidest questions like, well, go ask the bartender, and like you'll see how stupid he thinks you are. But no, it was just funny. So sorry, Jason.
Well,
Go
no,
ahead.
I just digression of thought. My mind's kind of everywhere. I wonder if, and this is a rhetorical question. I wonder if that's part of the secret to Nashville's success with songwriting, because songwriters in yesteryear would kind of do it. Bill Anderson would say, "I did it alone by myself." But
Yeah.
you talk to the big guys now. I know Tom Douglas. Look up to Tom Douglas. They write in groups now. They bounce off ideas, and that's what Nashville is known for. Is
Yes.
the songwriters were not. They're not monopolistic with their ideas.
Yes.
They say, okay, this is an idea I have. What do you think of this? And
Yes.
people were very generous with their time and their effort, and it would lead to these great hits. And
Yes.
and that songwriting community in Nashville has become worldwide famous. Our buddy Tom Perkins, thank you, Tom, for giving us these little cigar holders. Songwriter, but he was at the Bluebird Cafe the other day, and you share your songs. You know, that's where Garth Brooks was famous for picking up his hit "The Dance." You share these songs, and I don't know. It's a rhetorical question, but perhaps it's a key to success for men to bring others into your fold, for lack of a better word, and that leads to further successes.
I
So
think
I've got a story I want to touch on, but first let's move to this Willett and try that.
Try it.
the second one,
tried.
right? Yeah, which I'm having right now.
Yeah,
It's
so
lovely.
I'm-
It is.
What? So
I want to sit with
this proof. I can't wait to see what this proof is going to be, because Willett's like 120. I would say this is a standard 100 proof. You taste the rye in it. It is a rye whiskey. But Willett, it's so smooth at the end. You don't taste that alcohol. It doesn't burn you. It goes down smoothly. It is a wonderful drink. You could tell it's a rye, but it's not hitting you back with alcohol.
I know I'm sitting. It's 110.4 proof, by the way.
Yeah, I feel it.
The Triumph was 104, and I'm curious. Like, they're both so good. I don't know that I could distinguish one from the other.
Yeah, they're very similar.
Yeah, they're both really good. And I don't like rye, and these are so good.
Yeah, this is.
And they're not good
That's
rye.
tasty.
They're good whiskeys.
You're going to have to say stop saying you're not a rye guy,
No,
because you're
because
converting
you're
to
saying,
being a
yeah.
rye guy with this podcast.
I feel
Well,
like
I think the bottom line is I like good whiskey.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I feel like I've contributed a little bit to you today. That's it.
That's
it.
right.
It's rye.
Dave,
Rye is nice.
You've,
Opening up
you've
its horizons.
contributed to my journey
No.
from the very
No.
beginning. So certainly
Come
credit
on,
you
brother.
today. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
Jason, one more thing too. I'm glad you brought up songwriters, because that's a beautiful thing I learned after moving here to Middle Tennessee, is like realizing how much of a communal experience that is creating songs. Even the Beatles, you see like any song that was written by John Lennon or McCartney or Paul McCartney, they would always list together, even if they wrote it on their own. And you would ask Paul McCartney about that even years later. He would say, I always felt John's presence when I was writing, and I always was thinking, what would John do with this?
And that's
How
not
would
to
he
say
make
they
it
didn't
better?
write a lot together.
No, they
but-
did. They
but you're
did.
right.
You're right. But the ones they wrote on their own, that was it. And so, what a beautiful thing, realizing even those guys, I mean, who are very strong personalities in that sense, creatively.
And very talented in their own respect.
Absolutely. They didn't need that, but they were always thinking, and you look at it too, like we're all inspired by other people too. So to me, it would be, like most writers, I'll talk about writing for a second. Like they all have inspiration. They all have other people thinking about all the time. Everyone builds upon what has happened in the past. So occasionally you get a writer who does something very creative, but at the end of the day, we're building off of the past, and it's a beautiful thing. That's nothing to be ashamed of. That's something to be celebrated. And so I think when you acknowledge that, and if like you look at any acknowledgments page for dedication, it tells a lot about the author and how much of a team they have. Have you noticed like sports stars today, like even like individual sports, tennis players, golfers? Do you notice the language they use now? It's moved from I to we. Our team, we did this, we did that, or we failed to do this. I love that, and it's like you started seeing that about the last 20 years of it looking at more as a team mentality. of realizing it takes a group of people to do anything special. And that's no different for a writer. That's no different for someone just living their life. Like it's your family, it's your friends, it's your community around you, it's your church. And it could be a writer that's influenced you, no doubt. But I love that. Anytime we had a book do really well last year. I'm not gonna say what it is because that's not the point. It's about I had a lot of people coming back to me. Oh man, Dave, like great job on this or that. And in a previous life, and I say this like years ago, early in my career, I would have said, yeah, look at me, look what I did. That's like the biggest lie. It doesn't mean we individually don't contribute to something, but the more you realize there's so many forces at play among the people, the group of people to make something like special happen, then there's so much more joy in it. Because those who take complete credit only in themselves, they're believing a different lie. They're believing this lie of I to the point where it's just selfish, but also it's the lie in the sense of it's just not true. There's just so many more people that make up something. So, Jason, if you were to look back at your career to gain to this point of what you're at, and you didn't recognize those who made sacrifices for you to do what you're doing today, between your family, and friends around you, and the things you had to do, like you'd be missing out on like what's true. And that's
I'm not going to digress into that, but I can name those people. Like this was the guy who influenced me there, and and then even during residency, you're in the trenches together. It's a band of brothers, if you will. And those are the experiences you never forget. Going back to the practicality of it and kind of summarizing that, we as men need that ictus to band together, and that's what makes us better. And so for those sitting out on their own porch, drinking their own bourbons and smoking their own fellowship sticks, they need to reach out. They need to stop, take inventory where they are and where their lives are, and look at the people around them, being aware of where they are, not on their phone, not, it can be even good things, not sticking your nose in a great book. It's recognizing your family around you, the people around you, and building those relationships, because those relationships not only better you, it betters that other person as well.
When people,
with people. Is that, would you say that's the key? I mean, I'm looking at you from experience because you're the publisher here who's these guys have made fortunes on tapping into this weakness of guys.
Yeah, it's I think back to my publishing mentor who just spent so much time investing in me, a guy named David Moberg. David's still alive. He's he's retired. He was so good to always point to others David is I call him the Godfather. He is the Godfather. And we have enjoyed what we're doing right now. We have done this many times. I remember we were in California. We found out that Eric Metaxas's Bonhoeffer won Book of the Year for our industry. And it doesn't matter how you feel about Eric now. It's the fact of like, is seeing something, people take a risk in something that was so, and by the way, like I'll share a quick story about that. Like that was a book that it's a very long book. Bonhoeffer was not what we know of Bonhoeffer today. Bonhoeffer kind of like went off into a bit of obscurity, and you kind of have this battle for conservatives bringing him into their fold and liberals, and that's not the point. It's like, what do we learn from him at the end of the day? And Eric Metaxas brought this wonderful 650-page biography on his life, and in our space, you guys have made notice, like it's very tough to get people's attention, and their attention spans for books are in shorter chapters. And here's Eric bringing this very large biography about this dead German's life in World War II, but bringing it to life. And not everyone agrees with all of Eric's points on it, but that's not the point. Like Eric kind of brought him to that space. Well, it takes someone like David Moberg, whom I just adore as like another fatherly figure, but also to say, we're going to take this book as it is because we believe in the way he wants to tell the story. We're going to publish it. We're going to put everything we can into this. guys, like I don't know, we may be at 1 million copies sold at this point, but that's not the point, financially. It's more the point of saying this needs to be out there in its existing state. But I remember that moment very clearly with David celebrating that like a year later after that came out and how impactful it was. And we were having it's funny, at that time, a scotch together in California. I can't remember where we were, in Southern California somewhere, because we were there for another author's event. And it was beautiful. We got to share that together. I'm so grateful for David, and we have many of these moments, like I said, to do that. But he kind of showed me that, hey, this is meant to be celebrated in such a way. And so, yeah, I think that we always enjoyed scotch together, but he likes bourbon. We've had bourbon together many times, but it's a beautiful thing. I love that. And
Well,
so,
Jason, you referenced a minute ago about the people at home sitting and having cigars and whiskey with us on their porch. And really, that's the point of what we're trying to do. When people ask me, hey,
Absolutely.
what's your podcast about? It's whiskey, cigars, and friendship.
yes.
Yeah.
That's the summary. And we really want to demonstrate that. Even though they can't physically join us, we want to demonstrate, what does that look like?
Yes. Yeah.
What does friendship look like?
Yeah.
And one of those stories that I'll tell, and you correct me if I'm wrong on the telling, and I'll get to that as soon as we taste this third and final version of rye, which is the WhistlePig Boss Hog.
Oh, yeah.
And I will say, they're known for experimentation. If one were to put these in front of me and say, hey, which one of these is a rye? I would guess this Boss Hog to be a rye.
Yeah, I agree with that. I taste the rye. I do not taste the apple cast finish in it.
I don't love this.
No,
I can taste that.
So this is the second time you and I have tasted this together because we're pretty straightforward. This is what we do. Bradford and I and other guys in the past, we'd sit together on a porch and drink different whiskeys, bourbons, and try different things. We tasted this before. This was a reach. This is an expensive bottle. It's $1,000 or so.
Yeah.
It's a limited release. Hey, I'll reach out, and in our community, our ictus was bourbon cigars. So I bought a bottle, and I'm not going to drink it alone. We drink it with friends. And so you and I tasted this together, and we didn't like it before. It's better than I remember, but it's still not great. It's not,
Right.
at risk of never being invited to a distillery tour at WhistlePig, it's not worth $1,000.
No, and I'm comparing. I went back
It's in
and
Vermont,
tasted.
you said? Vermont?
Yes, in
Vermont.
It's
Vermont.
Vermont. Okay. Well,
Yeah, and so maybe they don't get enough heat in Vermont in their rick houses to
yeah.
to get the flavors that interacting with the barrels. But it's good. Would I drink this blindly and say, oh yeah, this is $1,000 bottle? Absolutely not.
And I went back and tasted the Willett and Triumph, and I can't pick a favorite. They're both so good, for one, and they're both so unique and different
Yeah.
that I don't know that I could say I like one better than the other. They are both exceptionally good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I concur with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's the Triumph and the Willett. They're neck and neck right there. Chariots of fire running together. But the WhistlePig is in a distant third.
Yeah, I would agree. So the story I was thinking of, referencing back to the Inklings, and so I may have it wrong, but it's always stuck with me. And I think it was one of the Inklings eulogizing C.S. Lewis, who died unnoticed because he died on the same day Kennedy was assassinated.
No, I love that story.
So at his funeral, one of the Inklings eulogized him and said, essentially, one of the reasons I'll miss him is because no one could pull out of me what he could,
Yeah.
and that's gone.
Yes.
So as valuable as these other relationships and friendships are, there will be an element of me that will never be known to others because he's not there to do what he did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
A good friend calls you on your shit, is what you're saying.
effectively, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of truth to
Yeah,
that.
that's good,
And
Jason.
now, I think that's a story well
Yeah.
told, even if I made it up.
Yeah.
So somebody could correct me if I've got it wrong. Is that,
Yeah.
to your knowledge, Dave, is that pretty accurate?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you hit it right there. Yeah, that's the beauty of friendship, that it just opens up this invitation to do that. And the Inklings modeled that for us. And by the way, like at the end of the day, if I'd say, "Oh, Lord, use me for one thing to play a small part so that the words of these authors may be read for the next 50, 100 years in the way C.S. Lewis is, the way we read today." That's it. So, Jason, I know you're reading Alistair McGrath's C.S. Lewis biography right now, which is lovely. It'll reignite your passion for reading so many C.S. Lewis books, and that's the wonderful thing. I think we'll be reading Tim Keller in the way we do Lewis in that way too. It illuminates Scripture, illuminates truth, illuminates the beauty of fellowship. How great
well
is that?
spoken.
And that's what we've experienced on this porch this
Yes.
afternoon.
Yeah.
So beautiful fall afternoon. Wonderful guest, Dave. Thank you for joining us.
It's an honor.
Maybe we should start community porches. Like
Yes.
people out there, you start your own Two Guys on a Porch. You start your own community on a porch. That would, if you do that,
They could be watch parties.
parties, we would love to hear that. Like, subscribe, and comment. Tell us if you're getting together with some of your buddies and enjoying a good glass of friendship. Let us know about that. We'd like to hear about that.
Thank you for joining us this time on Two Guys on a Porch.
Cheers.
Please like and subscribe, rate, all the stuff you do on all the social media platforms. Thanks, guys.
Let us know what your drink and cigar of choice is at twoguysonaporch.com, and you'll be entered into a drawing to get some Two Guys on a Porch swag